Hello, I'm here during the lunch rush with Janice, who owns her own food truck.
Best cheesesteaks in town.
Janice traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for her food truck business. We're here where she needs us most.
They sure are.
We make it so easy for her to save, with customised coverage that grows with her business. Sorry, I just get so emotional talking about saving folks money.
Not this onion I'm chopping?
It's just so beautiful. Oh yeah, no, it's the onion.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
What's up, Canuck fans? Welcome to The Line Change, a Vancouver Canucks podcast, which is a proud presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, as well as a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, every team, everywhere. Remember in a recent video, we mentioned how Elias Pettersson, the forward, EP40, his agent was not happy and was upset about the recent trade rumors and speculation surrounding his client. Well, literally a day after we did that video and that news broke, his agent has officially spoken out as he was a guest on Donnie and Dolly and addressed the rumors and trade speculation. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. This is coming to us from the Daily Hive. And actually, I believe Trevor Beggsy, friend of the podcast, wrote this article. And he goes on to say, no movement clause, be damned, trade speculation surrounding Elias Pettersson hasn't subsided. Sure, the 27-year-old center is tied for the Vancouver Canucks lead in scoring with 29 points. However, he's on pace for just 23 goals and 51 points over 74 games, which is only 6 more points more than what he had last year. If he plays and that is if he plays the rest of the season. That certainly isn't the superstar production Canucks management was hoping for when they signed him to an 8-year, $92.8 million contract, which carries a AAV of 11.6, back in March 2024. So almost 2 years ago. With the Canucks entering a rebuild, it's starting to look more like the Canucks' number one center could use a change of scenery, but does Pettersson actually feel that way? JP Barry, Pettersson's agent, provided some insights on Thursday morning during a chat with Donnie and Dolly hosts Don Taylor and Rick Dollywall, another friend of the podcast. When a team isn't doing well, then everybody's going to be discussed, Barry acknowledged. It's always hard for us when it's a player who has a no move. That's the reality of where things are when things don't go well. For us, we know it's not real unless the GM is calling us and saying that there's an actual team or a deal. 9 times out of 10, it's just a rumor. So he's already downplaying the rumors, basically saying that the Canucks have not reached out to them, is basically what JP Barry is saying here. I think he's happy. He's referring to Petey. I mean, no one's happy when they're losing. He committed to be here and try to make the best of it, and he's going to do that. I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of discussions at the end of this year about every player on that team. So what if the Canucks did call Barry and present him with a trade offer involving Pettersson? So this was, I didn't actually watch the interview. This is just a transcript, so I'm assuming it was either Donnie or Dolly asked Barry this question. The reality is that when you have the leverage to have a no move, you're giving up a lot. Barry said, you're basically purchasing that for sometimes $1 million or more. So the player retains the right to go to a spot that he wants to go to, and it'll open up that kind of dialogue, but that hasn't happened yet. So once again, he's basically saying that the Canucks have not approached Pettersson at all, and they haven't gone to Pettersson or his agent about an offer, an offer that a team has made to them. They have not once approached Pettersson or his agent. I mean, obviously, it has to be a location that works for both sides. So he's basically saying it has to, it's not just it has to be a 50-50. The two sides have to come to an agreement, which is basically how a no-move clause works. While Barry did downplay the rumors, it certainly doesn't sound like the door is completely slammed shut on a Pettersson trade out of Vancouver. That'll probably... A lot of Canuck fans are probably going to be happy to hear that. You can compare his comments about Pettersson's situation to his musing about Canucks defenseman Tyler Myers and whether or not he will waive his no-move clause to facilitate a trade. Tyler Myers, of course, also a client of J.P. Barry. He has secured it, meaning Myers, and the intention was to play in Vancouver. Barry said he's a veteran guy who wanted to finish his career in Vancouver, so that's even a more delicate discussion. Myers is, of course, older and has 3 kids. I believe one of his kids has some issues, and that is a big reason why not only did he take a pay cut to stay here in Vancouver, but the healthcare really helps out his family. And that's a big reason why Myers wants to stay here. However, his chance to win a Stanley Cup before he retires isn't happening in Vancouver. Obviously, it probably isn't happening for Pettersson in Vancouver either. However, if he were a second-line center behind a true superstar pivot, perhaps a cup win could follow. Now, before we discuss more about this and give my own thoughts on it, I'd like to thank my main and primary sponsor, none other than DraftKings Sportsbook, which is an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
Hello, I'm here during the lunch rush with Janice, who owns her own food truck.
Best cheesesteaks in town.
Janice traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for her food truck business. We're here where she needs us most.
They sure are.
We make it so easy for her to save, with customised coverage that grows with her business. Sorry, I just get so emotional talking about saving folks money.
Not this onion I'm chopping.
It's just so beautiful. Oh yeah, no, it's the onion.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Never experienced the jaw-dropping moments that make hockey? Hockey? Well, you can experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through per wager may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025, all rights reserved. I'd like to thank my secondary sponsor, none other than Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see right here in front of you, and you guys can check them out yourselves at GassyJackArt.com. All right, let's dive into this here. So PD's agent, JP Barry, is essentially saying that all of these rumors And speculation is just that, rumors and speculation. There's no, truth to it. He's saying it's, not true. So he's dismissing reports by Frank Saravelli, which is totally fine. As I've said, you've got to take everything Saravelli says with a pinch of salt, as usually the opposite occurs when he reports on at least stuff relating to the Canucks. Anyway, he mentions how he thinks Pettersson is happy here in Vancouver, which is interesting considering everything that Pettersson has endured and gone through here in his time here, from the injuries to the Miller stuff, and more recently to what's gone on in his personal life. And of course, the expectations and the pressure that comes with the contract that he signed almost 2 years ago, and how he just hasn't lived up to the contract with his on-ice performance. And, the talks about him and his offseason and his training, and the fact that, Quinn Hughes was, frustrated with him, that seemed to hurt their relationship. Obviously, remember, what was it, maybe almost a year ago or so, there was those reports that Pettersson didn't get along with the Sedins. Remember that? Barry reiterates that Pettersson is committed here to Vancouver and that he's trying to make the best of it. And that is exactly what PD is doing right now. But so he's essentially saying, PD is committed. And actually, PD's kind of even said he's game for a rebuild. He said that, what was it, a month, maybe a few weeks ago, where he was, he was fine with the direction that this team is going in. Now, they didn't exactly bring up the fan discourse regarding Pettersson. I know he does bring up the no move clause and explain it. And he also kind of goes into a bit of detail about it, explains it a little more, reiterating that the player retains the right to go to a spot that he wants to go to, which is very similar to what happened with JT Miller. Miller had a no move clause. The team approached him about moving somewhere, and Miller made it known he wanted to go to New York. So they obviously facilitated that and made sure he went to where he wanted to go. While Kiefer Sherwood did not have a no move clause, they kind of did something similar, as, while Sherwood probably had no say in where he went, but the fact that they went and did this now, did this trade now, it was, in a way to make sure Sherwood and his wife, who we mentioned in our Sherwood video, is expecting, gives him enough time to settle in California. And, they're not having to move around the time that the baby is due. So that was a big reason why the Canucks, traded Sherwood now instead of waiting until say the deadline. Obviously, some people will say potentially they could have maybe gotten more if they had waited till closer to the deadline. Because even Jeff Merrick suggested that teams would get desperate. Injuries could happen, and a team might get desperate and be willing to cough up a first-round pick. But the Canucks wanted to do right by Sherwood and make sure he got settled in to California and for his family situation. Now, getting back to Pettersson, Barry didn't completely rule out a Pettersson trade. He didn't completely rule it out. So it's not out of the question. So Canuck fans, and particularly those who are, wanting Pettersson gone, can breathe a sigh of relief for that. But I still found this interview with Donnie and Dolly to be quite interesting and fascinating nonetheless. Basically, Barry, as I said already, downplays the rumors, but as I said, not completely closing the door on it, simply saying that the Canucks just simply haven't approached either of them, or they haven't approached Pettersson or even talked to Pettersson about being moved. And until they do so, this is all speculation and rumors, which you guys probably, figured out or, are probably already thinking that. This is just speculation and rumors at this point. This is just trying to get people talking, because the team is losing, even though they did finally win. This team is losing. They're last in the league. They want, fans want to see a fire sale. They want to see a complete rebuild. We mentioned how they brought up Tyler Myers, who, as I mentioned, is also a client of JP Barry, and his no-move clause, as well as his desire to retire as a Vancouver Canuck. Now, we had heard whispers about, Myers wanting to finish his career here in Vancouver. I have to admit, it's great to hear that this is what Myers wants to do. Honestly, I don't have a problem with Myers finishing his career here in Vancouver. Yes, he's the chaos giraffe. He's made some mistakes on the ice, but in the last couple of years, Myers actually hasn't been all that terrible. I know Myers hasn't been all that great this season, but last season I thought Myers did pretty well. And honestly, the guy is wanting to, and the fact that Myers has made it known he wants to be here, and the fact, remember when he signed that new contract, yes, some people were upset with the contract because of it being 3 years, but he also could have gotten a lot more on the open market, and he actually took a huge pay cut because he wanted to stay here. So, and at least with Myers' contract, it's not as large as PD's, so Canucks are probably just going to let that contract go out, and then perhaps by the end of the contract, Myers will officially retire. I don't really see Myers signing a new short-term deal. I basically see him pretty much retiring at the end of his contract. But as I mentioned, it's not as long as Pettersson's. But I want to know what you guys think of all this. From the reports of Barry not being happy and upset about the rumors and speculation, to him actually addressing it like a day later with Donnie and Dolly, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Quick shout out and thank you to my sponsors, of course, DraftKings and Gassy Jack Art. And if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. Also, while you're at it, we do have a official merchandise store. You guys can go ahead and check it out. Right now, we're selling our 1-year anniversary collection as we are rapidly approaching our 1-year anniversary of this podcast being around. And we have it complete with redesigned logos, both the blue and green version, as well as our skate version. And I gotta say, that black hoodie with the skate logo looks it looks crisp. So does the white one. Go ahead, check it out, thelinechangepodcast.threadless.com. There are some sales going on, so go definitely check those out. Also, if you want to have discussions such as this one, join our official Discord. There is a link to it in the description down below. It's completely free to join, and you can discuss things such as this with other Canuck fans, myself, on our official Discord. So once again, the link to it is in the description down below. If you want to find and interact with us on social media, you can find us everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky. As I said, we're everywhere. So go ahead and give us a follow. And speaking of platforms, you can listen to us on both Apple and Spotify. Feel free to give us a follow on Spotify, as well as rate and review us on either platform. It's, of course, greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the podcast. Also, if you had a favorite episode that you just couldn't get enough of, go ahead and download that favorite episode and any other favorite episodes you might have. That also, too, really helps out the podcast. And, of course, we are greatly appreciated. We greatly appreciate it as well. But that's going to do it for me. As always, catch you guys in the next video. And always, go Canucks go.
the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
Oh, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.